Welcome to another great Saturday night. Tonight, we have a fantastic guest, one of our longtime sponsors here on Stogie Press, Ayalo-Chan Cigars, and the owner, Gaby. G. Cruz Ayala. And I'm going to bring Gaby in just a second, and we're going to get this show started. Gaby, how are you?
Yes. Hey, Jimmy, how are you, my friend?
Welcome
Welcome to Puerto Rico.
Yes. Puerto Rico, yes. I need to get over there. You need to give me the grand tour.
Of course. Just let me know when you get here.
I will let you know sometime next year, possibly. We'll see how that goes.
Perfect.
I have family actually you were at a wedding today, you said?
Yes, sir. Jessica and Derek.
I have family that was just doing a wedding. I don't know if it was today, this weekend, but a big wedding. Yeah. I wonder if it was the same wedding.
Maybe they are family from Miami. They have people from Boston. Some of the people that New York. Yeah, New York. There are a lot of people in that wedding because it's huge. There are hundreds of invitations. 100 people in that wedding. It's a very huge wedding.
Did you happen to talk to some of the people at the wedding?
Yes, I always talking to everybody. They always.
So it is. Were there some young guys there that are into all the cryptocurrency, bitcoins, and all of that?
That part I didn't ask for that part, but
okay. Anyway,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it. We did. I did put out a notice that we were going to start around 8 o'clock, but we got here going just after 7. So we'll see who joins us and who's going to chime in. They'll see it afterwards anyway, in case that they don't tune in now. I'm actually firing up one of your Habano Gordos.
Yes, the big Habano.
The big Habano, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that Stogie Press gets 86.
But I got to do the Toro next. So I have to. I'm going to review the Robusto. I'm going to review this one next.
Oh, thank you.
Compare it.
Yeah.
See how it is. And you're smoking Connecticut?
I'm smoking the Connecticut. That's the one that Stogie Press gave the 92.
Yeah, with the nice
with the lemon note.
Lemon zest, yeah, absolutely. Lemongrass, I think I was getting in that.
Yes.
And do you get the lemon in that? You get a little bit of lemony notes?
Hey, I'm trying to figure it out how Stogie Press find lemon in the cigar. It's my favorite cigar. Let me tell you. So from the 3 weeks that I made, we got the Big Bro, there's the Maduro, we got the Big Habano, and we got the Connecticut. And this is my favorite because you know that all the Connecticut cigars, all the enthusiasts thinks that this low because it's light, right? Like mild, light. And thinking that, I worked in the filler and put a little more than the Habano because it's the same blend. The Habano and the Connecticut is the same blend, but in the Connecticut, it got a little more of the ligero leaf that I grew here in Puerto Rico, and maybe that gave you the lemon notes that Stogie Press talked about in the review. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, sometimes I might get lemon. Maybe some people get citrus. Just played on my palate that way. Everybody's different. I'm not going to say that everything I get, everybody else gets. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But
that's why when I talk to all the clients and friends, and they told me, no, they gave you 86, they gave you 88. My favorite is the big bro. I was expecting a 92, a 90. Yo, hey, you need to wait because this is the perfect thing in the tobacco world. You got different palates, you have different
yes.
notes, there are different kind of people. And they think the Connecticut was more complex in notes and flavors. So eh, that's part of it.
So let's talk about El Chan cigars. For many months now that, with your sponsorship, every show, when we shout out the sponsors, we always talk about each sponsor. We always introduce El Chan as a dream come true for you and your wife, Liz. Um, but that's, we talk about how you want all the people that work the fields and stuff to get the native leaf out there. Why don't you break that down a little more for us? How did you get started in the cigar business? How long are your roots? And what you're really trying to accomplish now in Puerto Rico with Puerto Rican tobacco?
Well, when let's one step at a time. When I started in the tobacco world, I was 12. I got this uncle. He goes to Cuba, and he brings us a small cigar like panetela, maybe 32 by 6 by 7. It was artisan made. It's not band on it, nothing. It came in a napkin. And when I have 12 years old, I'm trying, I'm smoking it, and I was not trying to my dad look at us doing that because hey, I was 12 years old. But this uncle from part of my mom, it's a brother of my mother, he introduced us to tobacco. I always love the smell of the tobacco, the way that they construct, and make the cigars. And I just start to celebrating with tobacco, but no with big brands. I will start to find looking for local artisans that make cigars in that time. When I go to my college, and I start to introduce me myself, buying some cigars. My first grand cigar was a Cuesta Rey from JC Newman,
I know
and
Question Ray.
that cigar is not now in production because it was the don't remember the name right now. It's coming a tube in a white tube.
The white, yeah.
It's a white tube. And when I was in Tampa last April, I bought two of them, but it's small size because that one that's not in production anymore. Is they discontinued about 5 years ago. But I go to Tampa looking for that cigar. That's one of my first brand cigar. Then
Well,
when I
Newman was involved in that, wasn't he?
Mhm, mhm. Yes, sir. I don't remember the name. I don't. I will look for the name. Don't worry. But I start to try different cigar with my brother. Rest in peace. And when we start to celebrate, we start to making parties, and we are always with cigars. Never with a cigarette. We never tried a cigarette. I just did one cigarette in my life, and was enough to figure out that I won't ever, ever try a cigarette again. So when my brother passed away in a 4 track accident about 18 years ago, every 24th of July, we reunited all the families and my cousins and everyone. And in some part of the night, we start. to smoking cigars in his name. And the cigars that we are smoking at that time needs to be from Puerto Rico. So that's why I start to know these different artisans in different parts of the island, looking for something new every 24th of July. Then about 6, 7 years on the death of my brother, I talked to my brother, to my other brother. We are three brothers in my house, and I said to all my cousins, hey, I will make the cigars for this activity. I would make it. I want you to try something that I make. And then starts my journey through the different brands. I start reading about tobacco because in Puerto Rico, there's no tobacco fields. And we are talking about my brother dies in 2003. When I decide to start to learn about the leaf, about the feel, about how to grow the leaf here in Puerto Rico for the aging process and everything, 2008, then I start to read, I start to try to touch leaf. I found these pages and start to bring leaf. And when I smoke this cigar, smoke that brand, I get in love with the Nicaraguan tobacco. And that's why my cigars are Nicaraguan tobacco and Puerto Rican tobacco. It's a blend that I make because it's my favorite tobacco field. And why not bring that tobacco to Puerto Rico, and then we start growing our tobacco and then make Puerto Rico great again with the tobacco, because tobacco in Puerto Rico before 1898, Puerto Rico lived from tobacco from 1898 to 1940s.
Oh, wow.
Puerto Rico are exporting tobacco to Spain, to the United States, to different parts, and some of the seeds that today grows in. Oh, sorry, I lost my headphone. And some of the seeds that grows today in Cuba were from Puerto Rico one time.
Oh, so it went Puerto Rico to Cuba, not Cuba.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Cuba has her own seed, like Dominican Republic. But the cigars that have been made in that time, 1940s, 1930s, the tobacco grows from this city. This is Caguas. This is the center east of the island, and Caguas was of the major tobacco exports in that time. So then, in 2017, I talked to two artisans and I showed them what I'm doing. And I'm doing right because in Puerto Rico, there's no tobacco schools like Nicaragua or Cuba or Dominican Republic. In Puerto Rico, there's a culture that died for about 70 years ago.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
So in my dream at that time is why Puerto Rico can be a tobacco producer again.
So they basically stopped growing tobacco in the 1940s, 50s, and there were no fields anymore.
There's no field anymore because all the tobacco fields and all the artisans, the hands that make cigars in that time, goes to these big factories, and then came the machine. In 1962, 64, there are companies that are still working here in Puerto Rico that start with the name of Consolidate, the Consolidated, and they make cigars, but machines make cigars. They do the fillings,
right.
the backwoods. You know the backwoods.
Yeah.
Those cigars made here in Puerto Rico, the backwood and the fillings.
But they were tobacco leaf into the country. They were importing tobacco and then using the machines. And
Yes, sir.
so how long have the current farms been operational in Cuba? When did they start planting again and growing tobacco?
Here in Puerto Rico, there's every artisan that I knew in this journey, they have their own small field like 50 plants, 60 plants maybe. It's not
Family
a big, yeah, yeah. They grew their own tobacco for themselves. They're no planning to export it. That's not that's why I'm working now to make this big plantation because I want to export again like 120 years ago. So I want to bring back that culture to Puerto Rico. I want to bring back that industry. I want to bring back that economy to Puerto Rico because we can do it. And when I am in weddings, when I'm doing these private events, they always asking me, telling me, my grandpa works with tobacco, and they always had a story playing in the barns or sewing the leaves, making this big line with the leaves, So they knew the culture, but they stopped doing it. They stopped doing it. And that's why I'm hitting the doors of these people that came to my table and says, hey, my grandfather works in tobacco. Hey, I want to meet your grandfather because I want to know, making this literature to find out in what parts of the island I can go to find people that wants to grow tobacco again.
Okay, I was going to ask that's exactly what I was going to ask is where in Puerto Rico is the best place to grow tobacco, and have those places been overcome with housing?
Mm-hmm.
No
Right
longer
now,
farms.
right now, I found, sorry, three parts of the island that was good in tobacco. It was Caguas, is my city. I found Sidra. Sidra is more in the center, um, because the soil is very cold and the temperature. And Comerío. Comerío, they have a little more bigger farm field, and they grew about 2,000 plants in Comerío. Um, they right now in the aging process. And there's another brand here in Puerto Rico that is growing 3 acres of tobacco right now, and they are in the hanging process right now, and they aging the tobacco because that tobacco is since 2019. So that tobacco is not ready for cigars. And the brand is Villareño from Delvis Leiva. Delvis Leiva is a Cuban craftsman that lived here in Puerto Rico, and he starts this big field. So he was working with my father cigars one time. So this guy is a machine. So this guy can do 300 cigars in about 2 hours, maybe. It's a machine. And he started to teach different people to start rolling cigars, like myself, that I'm starting teaching some other person that want to start the business because I want the culture brew again to be big again. So the biggest project right now that we are waiting for is from Delvis, because Delvis has 3 fields of tobacco that was already in the barn.
So they're in the
And
barn, but they
yes,
have
sir.
to move to the pilones.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
drying. They still needed to move to the pilones, which is about another 9 months of process at least, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're looking at 2022 to get that leaf.
Yes, sir.
Right?
The tobacco that you are trying right now, that tobacco was a small field that I grew in my house, and since 2017 that came the hurricane and blows things off here. Hopefully, I I harvest those leaves just before the hurricane hit us, and that tobacco is the one that I start to including in my cigars in 2020. So when I make the bigs, the big Habano that you have, the big Rubio, the big Bro, and all the cigars that I have right now, I only harvest 54 pounds of tobacco. And the tobacco seed that I have in that time was a seed that grew in my country, in my part of the when I live in, and it's burley. You know the burley leaf? That's the very long
Big burley,
tobacco.
yeah.
And you know the burley is very hard, it's very strong from from the foot to the head. So that's why making a Puerto Rican puro is very difficult. And
Sure.
that's why in Puerto Rico, all the people that you can know that was in the tobacco business, they are always chewing tobacco because the burley was good for chewing, and they I have called every day. Hey, you have chewing tobacco? You have chewing tobacco? You have chewing tobacco? So I don't know. In that time, about 2 years ago, I start to make this chewing tobacco. I make different blend with rum, with brown sugar, you know, and talking to people that is still making chewing tobacco to find out why. And then I learned that for a good chewing tobacco, the roller in myself needs to make a blend between rum, brown sugar. They make this how you say this string. So it's something that you add to the tobacco. I don't know how to say
An
that.
additive. You have an additive. So
Yeah.
you're adding a little, you're adding some rum, you're adding
Yes,
some
sir.
gases or something into that. So that makes it to the chewing tobacco, makes it more palatable for
Yes, sir.
the person chewing it. But now those plants that these were made from, were those the first plants you planted?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
that's
sir.
the first generation of that plant. Now,
Yes, sir.
you planted seeds that those plants produced.
Yep, I have it right now.
So
I have
was
a
it,
million of six.
oh yeah, and once you get to one, you got tons of seeds. And then so you've
Yes, sir.
replanted and you've got second generation plants growing or
That's
harvested.
we are start planting next year. Um, because I want a big plantation. So I'm looking for an acre, 2 acres to to pull it out with tobacco. So I want because these 44 pounds, these 44, 54 pounds, sorry, I age it my way, learning, reading, asking in Bacardi gaskets. Ron Bacardi drums,
The
the wood,
Bacardi, the
the Bacardi
Bacardi barrels.
barrels is the word.
Ah,
So that's why the tobacco that I use, and I use it for the ligero because the burley, you know, is hard. It's very strong. When I put it in the barrels, they lower the strength and becomes more sweet.
okay.
It keep the strength, but it's more sweet. That's why maybe in the Connecticut, because I put a little more kind of leaf that the Habano or the Big Bro, the Maduro. Um, that's why, and I maybe thinking about that review that maybe is the special hit that maybe the Connecticut is very tasteful and some more complex in the flavors. And hey, it makes me my favorite. Let me tell you, so it's my favorite from the previous. I'm not the kind of guy that like the 60s, but I'm more from Robusto or maybe a
Yeah,
Lancero.
yeah,
Oh, but
absolutely.
but but in the 60s, the Connecticut is the one that I smoke every day. So I smoke it every day, like my everyday cigar, you know. And that's
Now
why, because
you source besides your native leaf, and you're hoping to have more between what you grow and other farmers grow. But you also source your leaf from where, Nicaragua? Do you also source from Dominican?
yeah, when I bring leaf from Nicaragua, it's because a special customer asked for it. I don't in my cigars. I don't use Dominican tobacco. Um, but if this person wants a blend between, that's why I do different private labels here. I have
Right.
6 private labels right here, right now. And when this customer asks for Dominican tobacco, I okay, I call. I have a supplier in Dominican Republic, and I bring that tobacco here only for that private label. But my cigars only has Estelí and Jalapa
Okay.
and Jalapa. That's the two, because the Ometepe I don't like it very much. The Condega,
You don't like the Ometepe?
no, I find it too salty.
Okay. All
I
right.
find it too salty. I don't know
So
why. I don't
where
know
would
why.
you put, where would you, if you were to say to somebody what the flavor characteristic of Puerto Rican tobacco is in comparison to Honduran, Nicaraguan, or Dominican, well, how would you describe it?
When someone gets here and asks me that question, in the manner that I age my tobacco, I the tobacco strain from the barrel becomes more sweetest that the maybe the jalapa. You know, the jalapa region is very sweet because the
Mhm.
soil. Every cigar that you try with the jalapa tobacco, you will find it sweet because the soil. But if I want to make a cigar more strength with a little bit more flavors, and like to a food flavor, I use Esteli, because Esteli, I find in Esteli a cigar that has maybe coffee, espresso, and some earthiness in the flavors. Because Esteli, you know, um, it's more dry. The feel is more dry. The way that they age that tobacco is very high in strength. They use
Mhm.
I found in Esteli, I found Habano seed in Esteli. I found Corojo seed in Esteli, and right now I'm using Habano seed cultivated in Esteli, but I use barley mixing with my barley cultivated in Jalapa. So and this is a blend that I'm figuring out right now, because I was able to buy some packs from Jalapa last year, and I figured out that it's very sweet. It's no matter seco, it's no matter piso, it's no matter ligero. It's sweet. So
Mm.
I found that the tobacco that came from Nicaragua, especially from Estelí, is harder. From Jalapa, is sweeter. In the blend that I make here, when I mix these two, or maybe these three, that depends of the blend that I'm making, I find like I am making a mild to medium flavor tobacco. So they say the characteristics of my Puerto Rican cigar, the cigar that I'm making, it's a cigar that's very medium, some medium to full flavor. Um, in Puerto Rico, the smoking um, is attached to drinking. So if someone is drinking, it's very probably that person go to smoke in some part of the night, you know,
Sure. Sure.
because they attach the smoking to the drinking. In Puerto Rico, I would say that maybe all of the Puerto Ricans drink. You know, we are the lion of the rum.
You got the Bacardi right there.
Yes, sir. We got the Bacardi. So
Absolutely.
we are trying right now. So if I want to compare the Nicaraguan tobacco to the Puerto Rican tobacco in the blend, definitely the Nicaraguan tobacco will be more strength and more harder than the blend that I make. Of course,
Okay.
definitely.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break right here. What we're going to do is we're going to shout out our sponsors. And then when we come back, what we're going to talk about is a little more about El-Chan Cigars, the business, and where it's going. And we'll dive into that. And I also like to talk a little more about the cigar culture in Puerto Rico.
Thank you. Of course.
We're going to do a quick shout out here to our sponsors. And let's start with, so today's show is brought to you by the Cigar Clowns. Cigar Clowns is a Facebook group that's on a journey to find the perfect cigar. If you're lucky enough to get your hands on one of their limited releases, you know what's up. If you haven't had one yet, always stay tuned to the Cigar Clowns page. When a run drops, they go very quickly. So you want to have good conversation, great people, and smoking great cigars, be part of the Cigar Clowns and watch what they have coming out. They search through factories and aging rooms in the Dominican and the Nicaragua and Honduras to find those cigars that maybe somebody never picked up, and they grab them and they're in and they're out. So next time you want to have something good, you want to sit down with your brothers and sisters of the leaf and share the same love for cigars as they do, stay tuned always to Cigar Clowns, and you too will enjoy an experience on trying to find the perfect cigar. Today's show is also brought to you by El-Chan Cigars.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to a dream come true. Husband and wife Gaby, El-Chan, and Liz want all the hands that work the tobacco leaf in their home country of Puerto Rico to have the same opportunity to expose their products. They call it La Hoja Del Chan because they cultivate part of their product, and at some point they want to be able to supply the world with their native tobacco leaf. The pride that Gaby and Liz feel is the same pride of all those who work the tobacco leaf, and for those, they deserve a portal that represents them. They want to thank you for supporting the country of Puerto Rico, their country, and they will resist, they say. So next time you're looking for a fine smoking experience, check out El-Chan Cigars. You can follow them at www.lahoyadelchan.com and El-Chan Cigars on Instagram and Facebook. And lastly, today's show is brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova Cigars is a family-owned and operated premium cigar company. Only the highest vintage tobacco and the most skilled hand workmanship go into the making of each Platinum Nova cigar. This results in a timeless blend of art and craftsmanship. The Nova brand and the family's work are a tribute and an honor to their grandfather, to always remember him and his infinite passion for the finest cigars. Their love for cigars started with their grandfather, a dedicated master blender and entrepreneur in the cigar industry. So the next time you're looking for an exquisite cigar experience, pick up a Platinum Nova. You can check them out at Platinum Nova Cigars at www.novacigar.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And while they're always advertising, if you go there on their website and you put an order in and use the code BostonJimmy15, you can get 15% off your order. So check out Platinum Nova Cigars. I'd like to thank my sponsors. Without them, this show is always a little harder to do, and I really appreciate you being a sponsor. Thank you very much, Gaby.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do to us to bring our culture back in the game, you know, in the business. Thank you very much.
So let's talk about that culture. Okay. So the cigar world from fields and growing and rolling kind of disappeared in the 40s and the 50s. How much of that has come back? Is it you see the cigar boom the same in Puerto Rico as it has been in the United States? Has it always been there? How do you see the shifting going on?
No, we are living right now the boom. So we are having the boom from since 2017 with this we call it in Spain la nueva cepa. The nueva cepa is the new breed of cigar rollers. Starts in 2017. I was the first in 2017 to be certified like a cigar roller. Then I start this different colleagues. They start um, to certify because in Puerto Rico we don't have cigar roller schools, right? So in Puerto Rico they treat us like artisans. So rolling tobacco is an art, but you know that that's not in discussion. But like an industry, they are start to treating us like a small industry or an industry that start to grow right now. The only thing right now that Puerto Rico needs is a big field of tobacco. Because Puerto Rico has a good machine made cigars that now it's called from the consolidated name as they know right now is the Congo. They produce 2.5 million cigars a day. And then we got our small factory right here. It's my factory from the past 70 years. So we start to making cigars again at hand, handmade. So that's it. The other products that we have, they are producing like artisans, and I'm definitely, and I can talk like this as they are trying to put the Puerto Rican name again in the business, you know, and the culture. We are now trying to educate. We are in this part of the business that we need to educate the people that a cigar is not a thing that you put in your mouth and throw smoke. So you need to taste the smoke. You need to smell the smoke. You need to figure it
Chew.
out that
Yeah, chew the smoke, I say.
you are, yes, sir. You need to chew the smoke. And like I said before, every people that smoke here is because it's drinking. So why you need to drink to smoke a cigar? You know? So we are now in that part of the business that we are trying to educate the people. In here in Puerto Rico, we have some cigar sommelier. It's called Randy Perez. They have a shop in Juana Diaz. It's called Juana Diaz Cigars. Randy is a master cigar sommelier. And my wife, Liz, she's a cigar sommelier too. They are in the final process to have the diploma that they gave because my wife and I, she's trying to be the one that educate the people to taste, like you said, to chew the smoke. And
Roll it around.
yes, sir.
Your cheeks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And in this part, we got different friends that are making that possible. We got Sergio, that he lives in North Carolina. And he got a page that's called Cigar Podcast. I don't know if you are hearing about them. And Sergio is working in that right now. Um, we got different people that they are trying to make a profile of the Puerto Rican cigar to to start teaching the people that you don't need to drink to smoke a cigar. So you can smoke a cigars and be working with that. We got a colleague right now that we are bonding on efforts, and he makes a cigar diary. You got 20, you got 50 sheets that you can stick the band. You put the band in the sheet. We got I was talking about that in my last live last week, and it was very interesting that he literally breaks the cigar in that sheet. So he talks about the flavors, he talks about the length, he talks about the time that you try the cigars goes around. They are putting right now and trying to educate the people that the first third, the second third, the third third, you know, that part of it. And then evaluating that sheet, not with points, not with points. So they only put the
experience.
yes, sir, just experience. And and he called it el diario del cigarro. In English is the cigar's diary. So you have 50 sheets in that book that you can put all your experiences with every cigar that you taste.
So as this is going on in Puerto Rico, where would you put the demographic? Is it millennials in the 30s and their 40s? Is it old guys like me? Is it men? Is it more men than what you find more women getting into it? How would you break the demographic down as to the most, the largest percentage of cigar smokers?
Right now, the more people they have here visiting us, 40, 35, 40 to 65 years old. So it's that is more guys like women, but we got women smoking real cigars, no sweet cigars, because right. In Puerto Rico the sweet cigars are very always there are people that work and looking for sweet cigars. Right. Puerto Rico, they want the vanilla flavor, they want the cognac flavor, chocolate flavor, but in the women, but in the men, it's very interesting that they too smoke sweet cigars, and they wanted this small cigars because they are drinking, you know. So we are trying right now with my wife and these colleagues to change that culture and to explore that they will be allowed to explore the hand rolled cigars and the other vitolas and other flavored cigars. Hey, you want a cigar? It doesn't need to be a vanilla cigar or a grape cigar. No, you can find those flavors in a natural made cigar. Mm-hmm. That of course, it depends of the leaf that I used to make that cigar for you to find those flavors, you know. And in Puerto Rico, there's more in the sweet cigars. You will find a lot of people that smoke sweet cigars, but the regular cigars, and there's more or less people than the sweet cigars that we do here in Puerto Rico. But with this boom, we are finding that more people like 30, 35 years and trying to experiment in the world of the cigars. And then came here because in all my lives, that's the way that I work my Facebook life. I'm working to educate the people that if you want to introduce you to the cigar, I can make you a cigar that will taste sweet, but it's not sweet infused. You know? Right. So you can find those flavors. And that's the interesting part. That's why we keep working on that, because we wanted to make this cigar culture grow, to make this cigar culture big again. That's why we are traveling to the United States to different events to introduce our cigars to the North Americans. You know, we will be in Jacksonville like 2020. We was in Jacksonville. That's why I know Blondie from Platinum Nova.
Oh yeah,
I know her. I know her in that event. Yeah, and when I when I was in Jacksonville that time, they are like, hey, but the cigars taste different. Yo, man, you are trying and you're tasting our tobacco. It's a
Mhm.
blend. I
Yeah.
always talking
Yeah.
with the truth. It's a
Well, you're
blend
always going to
between.
have a character. That's why I asked earlier about the characteristic of the leaf, because even though you're going to use leaves from other countries, there is a characteristic flavor that the Puerto Rican leaf is going to add to it. You don't want it to be the same as everywhere else, but you want it to be pleasurable, but you want it to be unique. So somebody smokes it, and somebody who knows cigars will go, "Is there Puerto Rican leaf in this?" And that's what you want them to be able to say. It's like when you smoke a cigar that's got like Dominican Piloto in it, right away you know it's got Dominican Piloto in it. You just
Yes, sir.
get that distinctive flavor.
That's when I found I have a lot of cigars here that my friends gave me and tried some new blends than some colleagues are making. And when I try it, it's, hey, you have Nicaraguan here. How you know that? You know, hey, Papi, I blend. So I need to know the flavors. And when
That's
I
it.
try a cigar that they have Dominican, man, like that. I know that has Dominican. When I say that to them, they hey, how you know that? So because hey, I'm
And you
working
could
with the
teach
leaf
them.
every
You
day.
could roll them. You could roll them little fumas and go, here, smoke just this leaf.
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes,
drink
sir.
some water and go smoke this little leaf and see the difference. Now put the two together and smoke it and tell me what you taste. It's a fascinating experiment with consumers. When they experience that, their whole head goes, wow, look at how that works.
Yeah. And I figure out that the people doesn't know, and that's why I'm trying to educate the people how the blends comes out. So
Right.
how how a cigar comes out. It's not that you bring, okay, I have a leaf from Nicaragua, I have a leaf from Dominican Republic, I have a binder from Honduras, and I have a wrapper from Mexico. And that's it. There's a cigar. There, take it. No. So when I try to make a cigar, we make these small cigars with 1, 2 leaf difference, and we chase it. We in sometimes we only burn that leaf. We roll it, we put a tape in the chip, and then we
Right.
start that the leaf to feel, to taste the aroma, to smell the aroma, to taste it. And then when and I see that in the video, and I see when they smells the mix between those live in that closed room. That's why we make this room. This room is called the bubble, la burbuja, because in my small shop I got air conditioning in the hall and in the main lobby, but in this part of the small factory, we got a fan in the window, and we have different fans here blowing the smoke. But in this room, that's we are making the blends because when someone wants a private label, I sit them with me in this room. So you want a private label? I have this leaf. You want to try it? What profile are you looking for? You want a
Right.
mild cigar? You want a medium cigar? You want a medium to full flavor, or you want a full flavor cigar? And I said, hey, but what is that? And then we start talking about the flavors. And then we start talking about the soils. And then we're talking about the tasting, the spirit, the tasting experience that we make in this room. And then starting and then, okay, that's why a cigar cost me this, a cigar cost me that, and the different price range. And the people started, okay, I don't know that. That's the part that I'm trying to educate the people.
Good.
That's why you're here.
So now let's shift a little bit to how many shops are there, cigar shops in Puerto Rico?
Hey, in Puerto Rico, right now, like 50 to 60
So
small
you
shops.
don't have a lot, right?
No, my brand here in
No,
Puerto
I don't
Rico,
mean your brand in shops, and that's good.
okay.
You got 50 shops. That's excellent. But overall in the country, well, how many shops are there? Like, you know, like in Florida, I could drive 4 miles and hit a shop every 4 miles. Right?
No, here no. No, in Puerto Rico, not. In Puerto Rico, if you are in the capital, in San Juan, that's the more part of the island that is a
Very populous area, right?
very popular. In San Juan, there's more than 40 shops
40
only
shops.
in San Juan, but they are mixing the shop with vapors.
Mm.
You know, so
A pure cigar shop.
only cigar shops. That's some very few. It's
Okay.
very because in Puerto Rico, the vaping thing here in Puerto Rico hits so hard. He goes hard. And when the vapors came out, you know, 2018, 2019, hey, they in the category of a smoke shop, they put the vapor shop in the smoke shop category. So
Right.
we have that little problem here because now when I look if I put in Google Puerto Rican cigar shops, it won't only will appear maybe three in that search. But if you put Puerto Rican smoke shop, man,
Yeah. But then they don't have a huge selection then either. So it's not like, you know, walk into a big walk-in humidor. They've got a little thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me talk. Go ahead.
In Puerto Rico, we got the biggest cigar launch in the Caribbean. That is the Cigar House.
Oh,
It's called the Cigar House. They have thousands of cigars over there, and this is San Juan. It's in old San Juan, but you got now a Casa de Monte Cristo. You know that lounge or House of Monte Cristo.
yes.
We have one here in Puerto Rico in San Juan. We have PAK. That's another cigar lounge. They don't sell vapors or crystals, pipes, or nothing. No, only cigars. They got a small launch, but the Cigar House is a bigger one, and it's sponsored by my father. They call it my father cigar launch.
Sure.
But they have wooden pipes. They have humidors. They got ashtrays. They got
it's what a cigar shop you find in the United States would be like.
Yes, sir.
Now let's this question. One more little shift of gears. So with Puerto Rico being, I mean, you're not a state of the United States. Are you under the same laws when it comes to tobacco? Do you have your own tobacco laws, or do you have to follow the U.S. laws?
We need to follow the U.S.
So all the taxation, everything is the same as it is in the U.S.
All the same. We have the I remember the name. We have the natural. For cigars, we need to pay a annually license to sell cigars to the shops, and then we need to pay the tax to the federal tax that we have for the cigars.
Federal, U.S. federal.
Yes, sir. U.S. federal. And it's an additional tax from the island tax. We got our tax for the tobacco, but that tobacco needs to pay a tribute to the federal agency. And when I start this this small factory, and I don't want to call it a factory because when I use the word factory, the people think that it's a huge place, 30, 40 people working. Man, this is only 3 tables over here, you know what I'm saying? But in the government, they treat me like a big factory.
Yeah, because you're a manufacturer of cigars. Whether
yes, sir.
One Rolero or 100 Roleros, you're still manufacturing. So
yes,
does Puerto Rico also have their own tobacco tax on top of the US federal taxes or like you have a shop, do you have taxes on cigars like a regular state? Like if you go to certain states in the United States, there are tobacco taxes, like New York's like 75 to 100% tax of wholesale. Do you have something like that in Puerto Rico?
In Puerto Rico, we need to, if you want to make a cigar shop here and you want to sell cigars, you need to, like I said, you need to pay this license every year.
Right.
And if you are exporting, you need to pay 40 cents by piece to the federal taxes. And if you going to bring cigars or tobacco to manufacture cigars, you need to pay the tax that is $25.50 per pound. Doesn't matter is this raw tobacco or is cigars already made. Doesn't matter. You need to pay $25.50 for every pound of tobacco that you bring for Nicaragua. Dominican
Is that a
Republic.
Puerto Rican tax or is that a U.S. federal?
Federal. That's the U.S. federal.
U.S.
That's the
federal.
US federal.
So now if when you sell a cigar to one of your 50 shops that buy cigars from you wholesale, is there a wholesale tax on that Puerto Rico imposes?
We need right now. We have the EBU. The EBU is a tax that between shops, they got an extension of 1 cent or 2 cents that they need to show me the permit or the that's extension of the tax, you know.
Okay.
But that is the natural tax from here from the island. But if we want to export our product, we need to pay 40 cents for every piece. For every piece.
Okay.
So, but we have our and in Puerto Rico right now. We are paying for everything, not tobacco only, for everything. 11.5% of taxes. That's the
so that's sales tax.
Yes, the same tax.
Sales tax. And you have an 11.5 sales tax on all products that people
all products.
If I buy a TV or a box of matches, it's 11.5% tax.
11.5, yes, sir. Because it's a 10.5 for the government and 1% from the city.
For the city or region.
From the city.
Right.
Kawas, and that's why it's 11.5 in the end. It's 11.5.
Wow.
And we need to pay for that tax every 20 of the month. Every 20 of the month, we need to report all sales and pay that tax.
Sure. Now, you are also prohibited from importing and selling Cuban cigars, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you are.
It's prohibited. In Puerto Rico, you won't find Cuban cigars in any place. No, that's prohibited. This is forbidden. Completely forbidden. Completely forbidden.
It's like same as U.S.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to take another quick break, and I'm going to go through what's new in news and reviews on Stogie Press. And when we come back, we're going to do a quick little lightning round before we close the show out to learn a little more about Gaby.
Thank you. Of course.
So this week in Stogie Press, I put out 2 reviews. The first review was the La Roma de Cuba Pasión Encanto. Now, I was at my local brick and mortar last week, and I saw this as one of the new cigars that they had in the humidor. It's brand new, out of La Roma de Cuba. I am a big fan of the Mi Amor of this company. So I said, let me try this. And I smoked one, and I was like, wow, I like this. So I bought a few more to review. And this is, when it comes to La Roma de Cuba, this is my new La Roma de Cuba go-to. Okay, I really think this is a fantastic cigar. You get this nice black pepper and cashew notes. There's some cedar and dark chocolate nuances coming through, and some dry leather, fruit, nut, spice. It's got a nice complexity to it. It is a Nicaraguan Puro. And what's important is the wrapper is a Nicaraguan Namanje shade grown. It's a small area about 30 miles outside of Esteli where they get that wrapper from. So it's a very unique wrapper. It's obviously made at my father's cigar because it's a L'Aurora product. Nice looking cigar. Prices, they got a whole different range of Vitolas. Pricing is very reasonable from $9.50 to $11.50. The Encanto is their biggest, their 6x60. I am not really a 6x60 fan. Sometimes they don't burn right on me. That's not my thing. But I'll tell you what, this cigar was spectacular in its burn. The ash, beautiful ash. You don't see it here, but this is where the ash cone fell. So what happened was, before I could take the picture, that ash was all the way up to here. So it held a very nice tight ash. It was a solid 2 hours from foot to nub. Very smooth, very enjoyable smoke. It did have this little jag on it, but man, it was positive experience. I had 2 of these that I smoked through, plus the one in the shop, and it performed the same all the way through. This is definitely a fabulous cigar. The other one we took a look at was my friend John Rima. People know him as Johnny from Johnny Smokes Uncut on Facebook. This is the cigar that he made with Protocol cigars. This is like one of the better Protocol cigars I've had in a while. I mean, it really is amazing what he did. They only did 200 boxes of these. It's a 750 cigar. It's mostly Nicaraguan. It's a Nicaraguan Corojo wrapper, and it's got Nicaraguan binders and filler plus some Honduran in there. Very nice. There's a nice story behind it. It's all called the J Train for Johnny Smokes, but it's just all about the transit authority, and just really nice looking wrapper, like a nice oily sheen to it, nice clean foot on it. It did have kind of a darker ash on it. I think there might have been a few more flavors if that ash burned a little better. Hour 20-minute smoke, little mild wave, flat burn cone, medium ash. They come in 10-count packs. You want to get them. They currently are sold out of these, but they're supposed to be making some more. They're going to do another run of these because they basically sold out like that. So he's looking to buy out some more. So this is another really, really nice introduction from them. In cigar news, some really fun things in the cigar news this week. The first one is my friends over at Ace Prime, Luciano Morales. He's now partnered with a European wine producer, and they're producing a wine together. He's a wine sommelier himself, so he's producing a wine. And in the process of doing this, they are also extending the Luciano the Dreamer cigar into 3 more Vitolas. Cigar Aficionado rated the original one a 92. I actually grabbed it as a 94. I think it was a spectacular cigar. It was a Lancero. It's one of my favorite Vitolas. So you could check that out. They're supposed to be hitting the street soon. So keep an eye on those extensions. You can read this article. It's a fun article. It's always nice to see businesses crossing over and connecting wine and cigars, whiskey and cigars, things like that. Our friends over at Drew Estate surprised everybody this week. People purchased these packs of unbanded naked cigars. They didn't say what it was. You kind of knew, if you knew anything, that it was definitely some level of Connecticut wrapper. It was an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper on it. Nobody knew what this cigar was. They finally did the reveal on Thursday night. I had three of them, each Vitola. I smoked through all of them. I said, this is a really, really amazing cigar. Don't know what it is. I was pegging it as possibly a new Hoya cigar, Hoya de Nicaraguan cigar, maybe celebrating a celebration. But in the end, this cigar is called the 20-Acre Farm. And I highlighted right in the front that when I smoked this, it was complex, amazing for a Connecticut. It was just almost mind blowing how much it had flavor in it. What they did when they revealed it, they're using an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade, a sun-grown Habano, Jalapa and Esteli fillers, but they connected with Jeff from Corona Cigars and his Florida sun-grown farm, and they've used the Florida sun-grown leaf in the filler, and that added a different dimension to the cigar. Like we just talked about from a Puerto Rican tobacco, there was this unique dimension to that cigar by adding just some of that leaf in there. So that was the big reveal that they did. You can read all about it. If you've had this cigar, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, they're going to be hitting the shelves, and just get out there and check these out. It's not going to be your everyday Connecticut, I can assure you. A couple of more news articles. Our friends over at Cigar Prop, Kevin Shahan, connected up with Espinosa Cigars and Smoke Inn, and he's released what's called the Back in Black collaboration. So this is the first cigar that Cigar Prop, Kevin Shahan, has got his hands on. Small batch. They're going to be sold through Smoke Inn. Southern Drawer Cigars announced price increases for the first time in a while, since about 3.5 years. So they're increasing their prices, I think 4% across the board. Just prices are going up, and you have to deal with it. And then that's the news. So this was last week. So that's the news and reviews in Stogie Press this week. We'll go back to Gaby. So let me ask you the first question to get to know a little bit more about Gaby. How'd you meet your wife?
Well, when I meet my wife, she was a sales manager in this tire distributor. I was a automotive technician teacher for about 16 years. That was my job before I started to make cigars. And I was working with this magazine, PR Wheels, and we are looking for sponsors, for magazine. We are looking for sponsors. And I talked to this tire distributor, and then I met her. Once I met her, we started talking about the sponsorship and about the history of the tire distributor and thing. And it was a hit. So it was a first sight. I
Love at first sight.
First sight. I saw this woman came through the door. She called me, "Hey, I'm a little bit late for the meeting. Please excuse me because I was in the field day with my daughter and thing, When I saw this woman came across that door, she, hey, I don't know what happened. So this is the first contact. And then we start talking. And my wife is a very important part in all this dream come true thing. Because when I talk to her, that I have this dream she told me, go get it, do it. She doesn't ask. She doesn't know nothing about cigars. In that time, she doesn't know nothing. Hey, nothing, Jimmy. Nothing about cigars. My wife doesn't drink. Chat. She just don't. She doesn't like anything about drinking. Nothing. Nothing. Hey, I want to tell you the favorite drink of my wife is a Dunku cocoa. This is a Dunku coconut with coconut water. So it's sweet in the sweet. So it's a mix. So what you can expect from someone that drink only coconut water, you know? And when I started to sing, I bought her a cigar, a sweet cigar, and she tasted. He said, "Papa, it's a good flavor. I want to know more about this." And then we complete our bonding, complete our bonding. Hey, most of the part of this business is thanks to her because she had this business mind that I don't have.
Mm.
I want to, I am the seller, I am the maker, and I am the one that go to every shop and touch the doors and hey, I have the cigars and everything. But she's the one that is working with the government, with all the laws, with all the taxes and things, and with all the selling and strategies that we need to keep growing. And that's the part that I love from her because she doesn't put a stop on me. She doesn't doubt of what I'm doing. She's only let me be me. You know, when you find someone that let you be yourself, man, I marry her. I marry
There you go.
her.
And
Yes,
that's my
sir.
wife. She lets me do my thing. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't drink. She might have a drink once in a while, but she doesn't really drink.
Hmm.
But this is the thing. She knows I love this, and she lets me be me. And she runs the backside of my website. She sets it all up. She makes sure it's working. She redesigns things when they need it redesigned, and that's her little contribution. And sometimes not so little because it takes time, but she just loves doing it. You have any children?
Yes, I have in my first marriage. I have right now a 17 years old daughter, and in her marriage, we have a 20 years old daughter. So in house we have three women and a small kid, and the kid is between us, of course. He's just 6 years old, and that guy is the one that is with me because my daughter, my oldest daughter, that her daughter doesn't like the tobacco thing.
Mhm.
But my daughter, 70 years old, she is trying to figure it out how the business goes. She wants try to make a cigar for me. So you maybe imagine how it feels to me that my daughter is making a cigar for me. So when I teach her how to put the leaves together and roll the leaf in the binder, the first one was very tight because she tied it a lot in the leaf, but the second one was good. Hey, it's my blend, but she made it for me. And this little guy, Gael, and he comes here and take the cigar. He says, "Papa, he smells good." 6 years old, Jimmy, 6 years old. And my boy comes here, and my boy he runs here in the factory, goes up, goes down. When I talking to the customers, he's around us and start this secret thing like, "Papi, I'm playing this, I'm playing that." Hey, Gail, then let me talk to this customer, and then we go play because this is the part of the 6 years old. He's playing all the time. And like my wife says that I am his playground. When my boy goes to play, he calls me. Papi, I want to play. Come here, come to my room. Let's start playing. And hey, it's good to be a father. It says this experience of being a father is the best experience that I have in all my life. In all my life.
Wait till you become a grandfather.
Hey,
I thought kids were great.
but hey,
I tell you what, being a grandpa.
Hey, but I'm taking the pills to not be a grandfather yet. I'm taking the pills. I'm taking the pills. I'm taking the pills, Jimmy. I'm taking.
You'll be okay for a while, but
yes,
you got the 17 and the 20-year-old, and it's only it's less than, sometimes it could be less than 10 years for
Hey,
they your heart, like your kids don't even know about. They just like God.
Yes, sir.
When you obviously when you got married and you had your wedding, what are you a dancer? You can't dance. You can't.
Hey, I have two left foots.
There you go.
I have two left foot. But hey, I like our country music, our native music that we call here the Jíbaro music. It's we got guitars, we got the cuatro, the four, the cuatro is our native instrument. It's like the guitar, but it got 10 metal strings. 10.
So 10 strings. Okay.
10 strings, but they are bundled together in pairs. So when you see the cuatro, you see 5 strings, but in theory, it got 10 strings. And this is our native instrument, And in Puerto Rico, our native music only shines in Christmas because we call it the Jíbaro music or native music, but we are trying to teaching the people that we don't need to be Christmas to sing and hear our native music. We need to be proud of our native music because that's the only thing that the older Puerto Ricans, when they hear the cuatro, they will stop doing whatever they have been doing in that moment. And they will say, hey, that's our music. That's a cuatro. The cuatro is playing. So in music, I like to hear music. Hey, I have here speakers. The shop light that I already have right now is a Bluetooth shop light. So when I working with my cigars, we are always with music. Oh, of course, in the Facebook Live and YouTube Live and thing, we can have music because the rights, that YouTube can block our lives and everything. But in the meantime, in the meanwhile, we always have music here. Whoever entered my door, he will give a hit of music. We will hit a music. We have the flag. We have our flag everywhere here, everywhere. If I could, I will have a flag here in my chest because I'm proud to be a Puerto Rican.
You're proud to be Puerto Rican. Yes.
I'm proud to be Puerto Rican. And talking about politics, it's difficult right now being a Puerto Rican because the status thing as thing is another conversation, But in overall, in any part of the world, every Puerto Rican, we know that we are Puerto Rican because we have this. I don't know how to say this.
We have this special.
We have this thing, We have this thing. When we saw this, now that I'm traveling, bringing our culture to another countries, I found all the Puerto Ricans that, hey, I know you're Puerto Rican because the way you talk, your accent, your manner to talk to the people. So, hey, Puerto Rican, we are unique. We are unique, Jimmy. We are unique.
There you go. Favorite sport?
Favorite sport? Baseball. Baseball, Jimmy.
Favorite team?
In baseball, right now, in Puerto Rico, we have this problem, and I will tell you, and I will talk you about that. Because in Puerto Rico, we are looking for the team that have Puerto Ricans in the roster, you know?
Okay.
And I'm a very, very fan of catchers. I like that position. I'm a very huge fan of Ivan Rodriguez. You know Ivan Rodriguez, the Hall of Fame. I'm very fan of Roberto Clemente. I have a picture of Roberto Clemente here in my shop. I have a shirt, a jersey from Ivan Rodriguez signed by himself here. And now I'm a Cardinal fan because they got Yadier Molina.
There you go. All right.
Yadier Molina is a catcher, but you know where we have Correa, we got Lindor, we got different players in different teams, you know. But me, I'm a bigger fan of baseball.
Good. I would usually give a normal ending question, but I was watching. I love to watch Stephen Colbert, the comedian, on late night.
Uh-huh.
And, he does this interview, and I'm going to steal this from him because I like this question. So I'm going to just give you this question. It's very simple, right?
I'm ready.
All right, you ready? Apples or oranges?
Oranges.
You can't put peanut butter on an orange.
Sorry, oranges. Hey, and hey, and that's why. When I was a child, about 50 feet of my house, it was a tree of oranges. In Puerto Rico, we call it China.
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 China. Like the country, China.
Sure.
China.
Like China, but
we like China, where we say in Spanish China. And hey, that tree, man, it gave us a lot of fruit. In Puerto Rico, the China, the outside of the China is green. It's not yellow or orange like the Florida, right? The Florida is a very good country for oranges.
Oranges,
you know?
Yeah, we like our oranges.
But it's really, really, really sweet. Really sweet. And I can't drink orange juice right now because it's too sweet for me. But I always take my glass of a very natural, how you say, when you take the juice,
you squeeze
the
orange.
A very good squeeze, a real good orange juice, a sweet juice. Then man, I take out whatever I have in the table and I drink it. I'm in love. I'm a very huge fan of the China. And my second favorite fruit is the guava.
Guava.
Yes, I'm very, because the guava, I have like 7 to 8 trees of guava in my house, and we go to the tree, grab the guava and buy it. You know, so it's not what a dessert. It was a regular fruit for every day. I got all the things that you can make with guava. I like it. We make guava juice. We make guava desserts. We make guava candies. We make the guava paste. Paste is the good word.
The pastries, like Cuban pastries with the guava.
And they make here in Puerto Rico and in other parts of the world, they make it's like a thing. It's a metal thing, and they put the guava in the they cook the guava. They cook it and they make this paste, and we eat it with hojalde. Hojalde is a Okay, say it's a way. Ojal it's a way to make this sweetness, and I'm in love with that. We have here two kinds of guava candies. We have the one we came with sugar in the top, and for us that we are vegetarians, we are putting this guava candy without the sugar in an integral the good
Integrated, yeah,
meaning to
yeah.
say that integrate the integral wheat.
Okay.
So I'm a fan of guava. Everything that have guava is good to me. Even the rum. We have guava rum here.
Guava rum. There you go. All right, so I'm going to give you the last word, and then we're going to close out the show. So you got to give you the last word.
Hey, thank you for giving us a chance to be in your humidor, to taste our product. I'm working and we are working. We are the Puerto Ricans. We are working to be an alternative, to be in your humidor, to to give you a good cigar. So it's not the matter that we are Puerto Ricans. In Puerto Rico, you can find good cigars, good blend cigars with good blends. Yeah, we are importing tobacco, of course, but we are mixing. We are tobacco, and that is why we are working to be in your humidor. So we are alternative to be in your humidor. Give us a try. We won't let you out. We won't let you out. Thanks for that.
There you go. So I would like to thank you for joining the show. I appreciate your sponsorship. I want to thank all the viewers now and in the future that are watching this, and the supporters of Stogie Press. Without you, this is just nothing. And hey, check out El Chan Cigars. Go on their website. You can pick them up. Believe me.
Hey,
Like
and one more thing. I want to thank you. To thanks to Stogie Press for opening the door for us. Not only for me, but for be part of our growing effort to be in the tobacco business, the cigar business. You are the first. Stogie Press is the first cigars magazine that opened the door for us and takes the time to evaluate and validate what we are doing. So Stogie Press is in my heart forever, forever. And not what is not because you are in front of me right now and you're giving me this space to talk about our production and our cigar. It's because you believe in us. Like my other pages, I have a friend and it's Dusty. Dusty is my friend from people that you know this group. People of the Leaf Society. He's from Boston. Dusty every day send me a message. I believe in you. I believe in you, and I believe in what you are doing. So hey, I I don't know how. I don't. Hey, right now I don't know how to explain this for you. We need to be grateful with all the opportunities that the cigar world are giving to us and the Stogie Press. And I'm very proud and very grateful and thankful with Stogie Press to open this door for us, because you are not only reviewing our cigars, you are evaluating Jessica Acosta cigars. You are reviewing Acosta cigars the other day. You are tasting Birrier from Chicago. There's a Puerto Rican brother for us. And hey, you are opening that door. You are proving Don Rafa. Don Rafa, he was the one that said me, hey, Gaby, you need to be in Stogie Press. So, hey, I'm talking from them to you. Thank you for all the things that you are doing. my friend.
I appreciate that. Okay, that's the show for tonight. Next week, I don't know. My guest is working on making sure he can make the show, and if he does, we're going to be talking liquor and cigars because you're going to love this show, and we'll just leave it at that. So until next week, I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you